lines EF, three straight line EF, comma GH, comma and LK, and LK intercept at O, okay, as shown above. If angle KOF, is 52 degrees and LOH is 85 degree, calculate the size of EOG, that is the object. We have to calculate this size. Let's say that size is equal to X, and we have to find the value of that X. Now, if you look at the angles LOH plus HOF plus angle FOK, that is equals to 180 degree. Reason, sum of angles on a straight line. Sum of angle on a straight line. Now our LOH is given as 85 degree, then plus angle HOF, which is unknown, then plus FOK is given as 52. All right, it's given as 52. Then that will be equal to 180 degree. Now, which means 85 plus 82, 85 plus 52, that will give us 137. That is 137 plus angle HOF is equal to 180 degree. So angle HOF is equal to 180 degree minus 137, and that is equal to 43 degree. Now, if you look at angle EOG is equals to angle HOF. Reason, vertically opposite angles are equal. Hence, angle EOG is equals to 43 degree, and that is option C. Question 6 and 7 are not complete. Move straight to another question. The next question is quantities in the proportion 1, 4, 6, and 7 are to be represented in a pie chart. Calculate the angle of the sector with proportion 7. That is, we have to find the angle corresponding to that 7. The first thing you do is for us to find the sum of the number, and that will be 1 plus 4 plus 6 plus 7, and that will be equals to 18. Now, the sum of angle at a point is 360 degrees. Now, the portion that is proportional to that 7 will be equals to 7 all over 18 times 360 degrees, which is the sum of angle at the point, and that will be equals to 140 degrees. That is option C. next question is, if two angles of a triangle are 30 degrees each, the longest side is 10 centimeters. Calculate the length of each of the other sides. Now, from the question, let's assume that the angles are formed by a triangle A, B, and C. Alright? Now, if two sides of the angle are 30 degrees, which means if angle C is 30 degrees, angle B is 30 degrees. Now, from the description of the angle or the triangle, that is an isosceles angle triangle. An isosceles angle triangle is the angle in which the base angles are equal and the two sides are equal. Now, if the longest side, which is the size BC, is 10 centimeter, now if we bisect, if the longest size is 2 centimeter, then we can find the last angle, which is angle A, and that will be equals to 180 minus 60 degree, and that will be equals to what? 120 degree, because the sum of angle in the triangle is 360 degree. Now we can use our sine rule. All right, what does sine rule says? Sine A all over the sides that face A, small letter A, must be equals to sine B all over the sides that face B, which is a small letter b. Now, if our A is 120, which means sine 120 degree all over the A, which is 10, that will be equals to sine 30 all over B. B is what we are looking for. Once we have gotten B, we have gotten C. Since it's an isosceles triangle, the small letter B must be equals to what? The small letter C. Okay? Now, sine 120 is root, sine 120 is root 3 over 2. Everything all over what? All over 10. Why? 120 is in the second quadrant. And in the second quadrant, your theta is, the angle in the second quadrant is 180 minus theta. Since our theta is 180 here, sorry, 120 here, so 180 minus 120 will give us 60. And sine 60 is what? Root 3 over 2. Then don't forget that everything is dividing by what? By 10. And that will be equals to sine 30 degree is half. Everything all over what? All over B. Now rearranging this, we have root 3 all over 20. That will be equals to 1 all over 2B. Okay? Now if we cross multiply, it means 2B root 3 will be equals to 20. Our B will be equals to 20 root 20 divided by 2 root 3. 2 here will give us 1. 2 in 20 is 10. That is 10 over root 3. Now rationalizing the denominator, that will give us 10 root 3 all over what? All over 3 centimeters. And that is option A. The next question is, the sum of two numbers is twice their differences. The sum of two numbers is twice their differences. If the differences of the numbers is P, find the larger of the two numbers. Now let's assume the two numbers are X and Y. Alright? Now the sum of the two, which is X plus Y, is equals to twice of their differences. That will be 2 into what? X minus Y. And we are told that the differences is equals to P, which means X minus Y. You can call the first one equation 1. Here X minus Y will be equals to what? Equals to P. Then we can find our X in terms of Y. That is, our X will be equals to what? p plus y. Now we can go back to equation 1, and anywhere we see x, we substitute p plus y in place of x. Hence, we have p plus y, then plus y will be equals to 2 into p plus y minus y. P plus 2y, that will be equals to minus y plus y in the bracket will go. We have only p there. P times 2 will give us 2p. So, which means 2y will be equals to what? 2p minus p. That's collecting the like terms. Which means 2y will be equals to what? Will be equals to p. Y will be equals to what? P over 2. If y is equals to p over 2, don't forget, we said that what? S is equals to what? P plus y. Hence, our s will be equals to what? P plus p over 2. Since y now is now what? P over 2. So, hence, our s will be equals to 3p over 2. Okay? And that will give us option C. The next question is 3 consecutive integers. 3 consecutive positive integers k, comma, I, and m are shows that I square is equals to 3 into k plus m. Okay, find the value of m. Now the first question you ask yourself is this: what are consecutive numbers? Consecutive numbers are the number that the two successive number have a difference of 1. Okay, that is 1 to 3 are consecutive numbers. 20, 21, 22 are consecutive numbers. 50, 51, 53 are what? Consecutive numbers. Okay, now in that case now, it means if our k is the first number, the second number will be what? K plus 1, and that is equivalent to our I. Alright, and the third number, which is m, will be what? K plus 2. Here, we can now say that what? Our k is k. Our I is now k plus 1. Then our k is what? Our m is now what? K plus 2. Then I square will now be k plus 1 all square will be equals to 3 into k plus m. But remember, our m is now what? K plus what? K plus 2. That is plus k plus 2. Now, expanding this k plus 1 square, that will give us k square plus 2k plus 1. That will be equals to, open the bracket, 6k plus 6. Okay, why do we have 6k? K plus k in the bracket, that is 2k. Multiplying it by 3 will give us 6k. Now, collecting the like terms, we have k square plus 2k minus 6k. That will be equals to what? 6 minus 1. That will give us k square minus 4k equals to what? 5. Now, if I bring the 5 back now, I will now have k square minus 4k minus 5. That will be equals to 0. Again, it's another quadratic equation. Now, we see again whether we can solve it using a factorization method, which I think is possible. Now, the coefficient of k square is 1, while the constant term is minus 5. So, what are the factors of minus 5 that when we add it together will give us minus 4? And I think that should be minus 5 and 1. Minus 5 times 1 will give us a minus 5. So, minus 5 plus 1 will give us a plus 4, minus 4k. That is k square minus k square plus k minus 5k minus 5 will be equals to 0. Then k is common. Then you have k plus 1. Then minus 5 into what? K plus 1 equals to 0. Again, k minus 5 into what? K plus 1 is equals to 0. Then our k will be equals to 5 or minus 1. Since if k is plus 5, then the consecutive numbers are 5, 6, and what? And 7. Because we say the numbers are what? k plus 1, and k plus 2. Then if our k is minus 1, it means the consecutive numbers are minus 1, 0, and 1. Now the question now is, we are asked to get the value of m. Now if you look at what we are given ki and what? Ki and m. Our ki and m now are now what? 5, 6, and 7. Or minus 1, 0, and what? And 1. It now depends on what they use in the options. And I think the option here is 7, which means they do not look at the side of k equals to minus 1. But have it at the back of your mind that in another question, that might be all they want to see. The next question has to do with polynomial. We are to divide 4x cube. We are to divide 4x cube minus 3x plus 1 by 2x minus 1. 4x cube minus 3x plus 1 divided by what? 2x minus 1. Now in dividing polynomial, you are always concerned with the first term to first term. Now in that case, you start by your 4x cube. 4x cube divided by 2x, that will give us 2x squared. Now the 2x squared times 2x will give us 4x cube. 2x squared times minus 1 will give us minus 2x squared. Okay, now we subtract this from the remaining one there. Now 4x cube minus 4x cube, that will give us 0. Now if you look at the up there is no term containing x squared. Alright, you have to assume that there is x squared there, but the coefficient is what? 0. Because when you multiply 0 by anything, is 0. That is why you are not saying it here. But in order to make it smooth for yourself, you have to put it there that there is 0 there. There is x squared. But just that the coefficient of that x squared is 0. Which means in that case now, we are going to subtract 0. We are going to take minus 2 from 0. Which means 0 minus 2x squared. That minus automatically has changed to plus. Then you now have what? 2x squared. Now there is no term containing s down, which means you bring it down the way it is, which is minus 3s, then plus 1. Now here is another expression. We repeat the same thing. That is what happens under division. Now dividing 2s squared by 2s now, you have plus x. S times 2s will give us what? 2s squared minus s times 1 will give us x. Then again we subtract. The same process. S squared minus s squared will give us 0. Now 3x minus x. Again, you have a plus in between there. And that will give us what? Minus 2x, then plus 1. Then finally, minus 2s divided by 2s, that will give us a minus 1. Minus 1 times 2s will give us what? Minus 2x. Minus 1 times minus 1 will give us what? Plus 1. Then finally we have what? 0, 0. Which means if you divide s raised to 4x cubed minus 3x plus 1 by x 2x minus 1, that will give us 2s squared plus x minus 1. And that is option B. The next question is on a logarithm. It says if log 8 base 10 is equals to x, we are to evaluate log 8 base 25 in terms of x. Okay, log 8 base 10 is equals to x. So we are to evaluate log 8 base 25 in terms of x. Now, if you look at it from what we are given, we are to find x. All right, we find our 8 in terms of x. Then we substitute that 8 into that expression. Now, starting with that, if log 8 base 10 is equals to x. Now, if you use your one of the rules under logarithm, all right, that is converting logarithm into the index. That means our 8 will be equal to 10 raised to power x. Then we can now go into the second statement. Anywhere we see 8, we are going to substitute 10 raised to power x. Then, which means log 8 base 25 will be equals to log 10 raised to power x all over 25. Now, if you look at that, our base is a perfect square, which means we can do something about it. Which means log 10 raised to power x all over 5 square, all right? That is log 8 base 25 will be equal to what? Log 10 raised to power x base 5 square, because 5 square is still the same thing as what? 25. Then you can now apply the power rule. You know, there are two rules based on a power under logarithm. The one that has to do with the number and the one that has to do with the base. Now in this case, since the base is the one that raised to the power, then the power will come out as a reciprocal. All right. Then you have minus 2. That's 1 over 2. All right. Then times. Now, if you look at your 10 raised to power x, that power has to do with the number. So if you look at this expression now, it's a perfect combination of the power rule, both the number base and the base. Now, since our our 10 raised to power x, now the s is coming back normally, okay? And we now have what? Log 10 base what? Base 5. And that will be equal to what? X all over 2 log 10 base 5. Now the next question has to do with normal multiplication, which we were used to. Okay? Now we have to solve 0.0023 times 750 all over 0.00345 times 1.25. Now what you do is very simple. Multiply the numerator. Whatever thing you get, divide it by 0.00345. Alright? Whatever thing your answer is, divide it again by 1.25. And the answer will be 405.88. Now the next question is the first term of a geometric progression is twice its common ratio. The first term of a geometric progression is twice its common ratio. Find the sum of the first two terms of the progression if its sum to infinity is equal to 8. Now, our first term of a geometry, that is a GP, is equals to what? Is equals to A. That is notation. First term is equals to what? Is equals to A. But don't forget, we're told that this first term is twice the common ratio, which means our A is equals to what? 2R. Now again, we're given the sum to infinity. The sum to infinity of a GP is given as A all over what? 1 minus R. Okay? Now, if that is the case, since the sum to infinity is equal to 8, which means our A will be equal to what? A all over 1 minus R. But don't forget that our A is equal to what? 2R from the equation. Then we cross multiply, we have 8 into 1 minus R to be equal to what? 2R, which is A. Okay? Now open that bracket, will give us this, that is 8 minus 8R will be equal to what? 2R. Collecting the like term, our 8 will be equal to what? 2R plus 8R. Again, our 8 will be equal to what? 10R. Our R will be equal to what? 8 over 10. And that will be equal to what? 4 over what? 4 over 5. That is the common ratio. Now that we have gotten the common ratio, then we can now go ahead to get our first term. Why? First term, according to the equation, is twice the common ratio, which means our first term A will be equal to what? 2 times 4 all over what? 2 times 4 over 5. And that will be equal to what? 8 over 5. We have to find the sum of the first 2 terms. Okay? Now that is the first term A and AR, which is what? The second term. Okay? Now already we know the first term. Let's quickly get the second term. Then we find their sum. The second term AR is given as 8 over 5 times 4 over what? Over 5. Because our R is 4 over 5. Okay? And that will give us 8 times 4 is 32 all over what? All over 10. Therefore, the sum of the first 2 terms will now be equal to what? 8 over 5 plus 32 over 10. And that will be equal to, the LCM is 10. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 2 times 8 is 16. Then plus what? 32. 16 plus 32, that is what? 48 over 10. Then again, 2 can go. 2 in 48 will give us a 24. All over what? All over 5. And that will be the answer. The next question has to do with differentiation. Okay? Alright? The next question has to do with differentiation. So, we are given this: if y is equals to 3 s squared into s squared plus 1, everything raised to power what? Half. Then we have to find the y dx. Find the y dx. Okay? Now, if you look at this, these questions are a combination of 2 functions. One, we are multiplying 3s squared by another expression in bracket, and the bracket has a power. Okay? That multiplication alone on its own is product rule. Now, the bracket to a power has to do with function rule. Okay? Now, as somebody who is writing an exam that need a shortcut, you should be able to differentiate function of function directly and product rule directly. Alright? But if we are to do the normal WAEC, alright, then you have to begin to solve them stepwise. But I'm going to show you how you can do that quickly here. Now let's start with the product rule first. Since we want to differentiate this, it's okay, the y, the x, that will be equals to. Now hold the bracket and its power down. Okay? Then differentiate the 3s squared. If you differentiate the 3s squared, you are going to have what? 6x. Then into, you now write the bracket down like that. Then plus. Now, you are going to hold the 3s squared down now and differentiate the bracket. But in differentiating that bracket again, it has to do with what? Function of function. How do you differentiate function of function without following the normal protocol? Now, look at your bracket. Differentiate the bracket. What you have in the bracket. That will give you 2x. Now, whatever thing you get from there, that 2x, multiply it by the power. Your power is half. So 2x times half will give you what? X. Okay? Now, don't forget that whatever thing you get from there, you are going to multiply it by the what? The 3s squared. That will give us what? 3s cubed. That s times 3s squared will give us 3s cubed into, rewrite the bracket. Then finally, what do? You subtract 1 from the power. Okay? But if you look at this power, this is half. Half minus 1 will give you what? Minus half.